Hey, it's your Scale Up Biz Coach, Laurie McNaughton, coming to you again with another short video to help you scale up your business. This particular video is entitled, Why is Change So Difficult? Let me ask you this. How many of you have gone to a conference or seen a presentation or read something and you thought to yourself, that's the answer. That's going to solve the challenge that I'm having at work. And as soon as I get to work on Monday, I'm going to implement that and everything is going to be fine after that. So you get to work, you're all excited about the change you're going to implement, and then somebody doesn't show up for work, or the phone rings and it's an unhappy customer, or some other kind of emergency has taken place, and now you're back in full on survival mode. The next thing you know, a month has gone by and you've probably not done a thing about it, maybe even completely forgotten about it. Now, that's just the next thing you know, you're back at business as usual. But we don't want that. We want business as unusual. And what I mean by that is we want dramatic change. So, how do we do that? Well, the first thing we got to do is understand a little bit more about how the brain works. The first time I came across any talk on about how the brain works was at a business conference in Orlando, Florida, where one of the speakers talked about neuroplasticity. And since then, I've just been studying the brain, partly because I want to understand how my brain works, because I want to be the best that I can be at what I do. And so I want to eliminate the things that slow me down and add more of the things that speed me up. So I've done a lot of study about the brain and understanding how and why it works. So let's talk about some of the simple things first. If I took your brain out, I could literally hold it in my hands like that, maybe even in one hand. And the brain weighs about 3.5 pounds and 75% of that is water. Now, just think about this for a second. Your entire consciousness is inside that 3.5 pounds of gelatinous matter. Something to contemplate for another day. So it's made up of, I don't know, somewhere between 80 and 100 billion neurons that in your lifetime connect together and give you an understanding about life and how life works. I say your life because it truly is your life and not other people's lives. Because you see, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. Now, I know you intrinsically understand this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any problems because everybody would think exactly think exactly alike. And I always quote my mom on this: if everybody was exactly the same, we'd live in a pretty boring world. In fact, if everybody thought the same way, we'd probably be still living in caves. Anyways, so we're literally born with no connections. You know, we slip into this world with no concept about what we're about to get ourselves into. Now, if you're lucky enough to be born into a very supportive environment, you might make connections like, I am so handsome and I'm so smart and literally I can do anything. If not, you make connections that are not so supportive, like, you know what, I'm not that handsome and I'm not really all that smart, and it's really limited what I can and cannot accomplish. This is just simply science, neural connections. If you were supported growing up, you would grow up thinking, like I said, I'm handsome, I'm smart, and I can do anything. If not, you would be thinking, I'm not so handsome, I'm not so smart, and I can't do anything. So these connections wire together over a lifetime from communicating first with your parents and your siblings, and then going to school and going to churches if you go to church, and interacting with friends, because that you're really, a lot of neurons are being connected between 0 and 7 years old, and I think it's somewhere around the age of 25 you've formed a pretty solid set of neural connections that really create your personality. Now, again, neuroplasticity, you can teach an old dog new tricks. So your personality starts to create, and ultimately your personality creates your personal reality. This is really how habits are formed, and we create habits for a reason because it makes us simpler to go through our days. If we had to think about everything that we needed to do at every single moment of the day, breathe, eat, walk, talk, all that stuff, there's no way we could move forward. So we create a bunch of habits, some of them good, some of them not so good. So now that we understand that, we can use this understanding to create a personal reality we want versus the one that we don't want. I'm sure you've probably heard about this in the past. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want, because if you're focusing on what you don't want, guess what's going to show up? And that is a fact, because what you think about comes about. What you spend your time thinking, I can or I can't, you're right. So we need to understand this, and this is part of our built-in survival mechanism, which many of you would have heard of: fight, flight, or freeze. So for ease, we're just going to refer to this as survival for the rest of this presentation. So we really need to make a shift from survival mode to creation mode. It's hard to be happy when you're stuck in survival mode. It's hard to be calm when every day feels like a battle. And it's hard to grow into your best self when you're just trying to get through and make it through the day. It's hard, if not impossible, to create a business when you are in survival mode. It's like putting your whole team, and in fact, you're probably putting your whole team in survival, which even makes it more difficult because of this. Too many business owners and their teams are just running on fumes, grinding it out just to keep up. But what if there was another way? Well, I'm here today to tell you that there is another way, and a better way. It's way more fun, it's way more exciting and profitable, and just a whole lot less stressful. So I know nobody can put their hands up, but I do that anyway. Participate. By a show of hands, how many of you experienced a time when you were in creation mode? Ideas just seem to flow to you. In fact, you may have referred to yourself at times as being a genius. So don't be afraid to go ahead and put your hand up. Now, my mission as a business coach and a growth leader and a guy who works with business owners to help them scale up and not burn out is to work with like-minded business owners to shift away from survival and get them into creation, to build a business that doesn't just survive, but thrives. When a business owner steps into creation mode, they unlock a whole new level of success and fulfillment and abundance in their lives. And it's not just for them, but it's for their whole entire teams. One of the things that I really focus in on helping business owners understand that your business is not just about you, it's about your entire team. So, you ready to stop surviving and start creating? So let's make it happen. How do we do that? First off, clarity is number one. You have to know where you are and where you want to be. This is from Alice in Wonderland. It's a quote from Lewis Carroll. I'm sure you've heard this before. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Or as Yogi Berra said once, if you don't know where you're going to end up someplace else. So first thing you need to do is get clear on the what. So what is it what we do? How do we do it? Get really clear on what that means from a marketing standpoint as well. Then it's the why. Why is this important? What does it mean to me? What does it mean to my team? What does it mean to our customers? And what does it mean to the community as a whole? And then you start working on the how. So here's the thing. It's not enough just to know. How many of you know you should be doing something different? That's right. It's time to act, because it's through action. Remember, I talked about the neurons, that you fire neurons together, you start to create a new habitual way of doing things. And we want to do things that move us towards abundance. We want to do things that move us towards building a business that doesn't just survive, it thrives and creates a high level of profit for us, for our team, for our communities. So it's time to take action. It's through action that you'll learn the nuances, the the nuances and where you need to wire new connections. So let's get started. Here's the first thing: get clear and be honest about where you are. Don't BS yourself. Just to give you an idea, like I've talked to thousands of business owners over the past 20 plus years of doing this, and there's several that stand out, but one in particular that stands out to me is a guy who owned a business that galvanized steel. And so first question, how was business? Great. Couldn't be better. Okay. Talk to him for a while longer. Find out that he's working like 14, 15-hour days. Sometimes he's sleeping at the office. In fact, sometimes he's working 7 days a week. So let's be honest with ourselves. If you're working, a stupid amount of hours, and what I would say is a stupid amount of hours is anything over a 40, 50-hour work week. Now you might say, Laura, you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, I do know what I'm talking about because I've been doing this for 20 some years, and I've taken so many businesses and their owners who were working like that, 7 days a week down to a regular work week. And in fact, with some, they're working 10, 20 hours a week now. So get clear on where you are and be honest with yourself, and then get clear on where you want to be. Now set some SMART goals. So SMART goals, if you haven't heard the acronym before, are specific, measurable, achievable with a result and a time frame to them. If they're not SMART, they're just suggestions. Now create a plan. Now that plan, you want to set goals for 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, maybe 10 years, depending on how long where you're at in your cycle. But you want to make a plan just for a quarter. Why do we just want to do it for a quarter? Because things change and things change quickly, and you don't want to spend 2 days building this massive plan for a year or 5 years or whatever the case may be, and then the economy completely blows up on you and you have to pivot and go in a completely different direction. So create a quarterly plan and then take action. So let me ask you this: if you were to do all of these things, like set SMART goals, create a quarterly plan, and take action towards that plan, if you were to do this, what would it mean to your business? And maybe more importantly, what would it mean to you personally? What do you think is possible when you do that? What becomes possible if you have a team of leaders that work for you who really run every piece of your business and it thrives, not just survives, and it continues to grow and build? What becomes possible for you then? So I just want to give you some numbers here to mull over here for a minute. And that is, if you were to take your business, say, from 500K to $1 million, or $1 million to $2 million, or 5 to 10 million, what would that mean to you financially? And then what would it mean if you were to, say, add just 1% or 5% to your net profit? So that's the profit after everything has been paid for. Salaries, your salary, everything. That's what we talk about when we're talking about net profit. So here's some context. Let's say you went from $1 million in revenue to 1.5 million, and your net profit margin was 5%. So that means at $1 million, 5%, you got 50K in profit. If you don't add any more revenue and you only add 5% onto your net profit, now you've gone to 100K. So that's $50,000 more. Now, some of you go and say, it's not possible. Sorry, it's completely possible. And in fact, any service industry type business, you should not be doing less than 10%. You should be doing 10 to 15% net profit. And I've worked with many, many business owners who have done just exactly that. I have a client that I've been working with for some time now. He's gone from about less than 4.5% net profit to just shy of 15%. Grew his business from 8 million to 21 million. You can do the numbers and figure out what that means. So now, what if you go from 1 million to 1.5 million, and yet 5%, you didn't add any more net, 75,000 K. That's 25,000 more than what you were doing before. But what if you were to go 1.5 million at 10%? Now you're at $150,000 in net profit. How would that change your life? What would that mean to you if you were to go from making $50,000 net to $150,000 net, or even 50,000 to 100,000? What would that mean to you? And then what becomes possible when you understand how to do that, first of all? So now what if you could do all of that and work 10, 20, or 30% less? And as I said, I've worked with a lot of business owners that were working 7 days a week, some of them as many as 80 hours a week, which is insanity, and got them down to a regular work week. And in some instances, some of the people that I've worked with in the past are not even really working much anymore. I've got a past client who takes every month he takes a week off and goes hiking in the mountains. And he's only at work 20, 30 hours a week when he's in town. What would that mean to you? What would that mean to your life? If you want to find out more about how this could be helpful for you, go to my website, lauriemcnaughton.com, and scroll down a bit. There's a link in there. It says Discovery Meeting 50. It's just a 15-minute meeting. Why do we do a 15-minute meeting? If you haven't watched any of my other videos, is because I want to understand first, can I help you? You want to understand, do you believe that I can help you? And is there some synergy between us? And are you a like-minded business owner? Because, there's some people that are just so stubborn that, they're not going to change any way of their doing things. And I'm not interested in wasting my time and your money to help someone not accomplish anything. So that 15-minute meeting will understand, first of all, can I solve your problem? Does it feel like we can work together? And then we'll book a complimentary coaching session, which typically goes from an hour to an hour and a half, where I'll just ask you a whole heap of questions so I can better understand what the challenges are that you're facing. I'll talk about the solutions to those challenges. And we'll look at what would be the return on investment. Because as I said, let me ask you this question. If I took you from $1 million to 1.5 million and 5% net to 10% net, and you went from $50,000 to $150,000, how much would you pay for that? It's really kind of a no-brainer. And that's not an ongoing thing, because after our relationship is over, which typically I work with people from anywhere from 12 to 17, 18 months. Now, I do have some clients who have been around for a long time, but that's because they look at me more as being part of their board of directors at this particular point. So if you were interested in learning more about how I can help you do that, go to my website, book that 15-minute meeting. As my mom used to say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And we can start the process and start talking about how we can do something that will dramatically change your life, your family's life, and the people who work for you, their lives as well. Because part of my vision and mission for what I do is not just to change business owners' life so they can get more wealthy at the behest of the people who work for them. One of the keys to keeping a great team of people is, first of all, appreciating what they do, and secondly, remuneration. You can't pay people at the bottom of the scale for what they do and expect them to stay around forever. And that's what you want them to do. You want the good people to stay. You want the not so good people to leave. So enough said. Thank you for listening. Oh, by the way, if you like this video, please like it and then subscribe to the channel. I drop some videos every once in a while to help business owners, as I say, scale up and not burn out. So thank you for listening. And I hope one day I get to meet with you and give you the opportunity and have the opportunity to help you create a business that creates a beautiful lifestyle for you. Take care and have yourself a wonderful day.